much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the government has for years given the excuse that they can't do anything more to reduce greenhouse gas emissions because it would make Alberta less competitive with the U.S. And putting out a media release today re-announcing a program that's been in place since 2009 is a perfect example. So, well, now, both U.S. and China have signed a joint agreement to curb and reduce carbon emissions. So the ball's in our court. To the Environment Minister, has this joint agreement made any difference in the specifics or timelines for Alberta reducing greenhouse gas emissions? Anything at all?
Honourable Premier.
Speaker, the matter of greenhouse gas reductions is important to all of us. It's certainly important to a province such as ours, which is in the energy business, which produces in excess of 2.6 million barrels of oil per day over the course of this year. And so we need to be careful that we balance, on the one hand, protecting the environment with our economy on the other. Certainly the government is very focused on environmental action, on being a leader with respect to these issues. We are reviewing the agreement that's been reached between the Americans and the Chinese with interest, and at this point the timelines and the goals and objectives are clear, but not the specifics, Mr. Speaker.
For a supplemental.
Well, that sounds familiar. Okay. Well, back to either the Premier or the Environment Minister. I mean, given that this government loves to talk about instituting the first carbon levy, but first isn't best anymore, and given that talk about a 40% or $40 plan went the way of the Sky Palace, and given that the government's already said there will be no movement on intensity of emissions or the levy, is there anything new for climate change under this new management, under this new Premier?
Honourable Premier.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I would certainly encourage the honourable member opposite to take more pride in the policies that we have in Alberta. She refers to the first carbon levy, Mr. Speaker. She refers to the first carbon levy. In fact, the architecture of the industrial emitters policy that we have in the province of Alberta has been emulated in the province of British Columbia with respect to their carbon policies for their new LNG projects. It's also being followed in Saskatchewan, Mr. Speaker. So, in fact, and if you talk to Americans, they are looking at the specific architecture that we have in our province as a model, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Final supplemental.
Yeah, but BC's is actually a carbon tax, and everyone pays it, and we're not looking very good on that side. So back to the Premier or the Environment Minister. I mean, really, does this government, this minister, not understand that Alberta's lack of success in finding access to markets for our oil is a direct result of their inaction on climate change and reducing greenhouse gas emissions? It has an effect.
Good question, Murray. Good. Honourable Premier.
Well, Mr. Speaker, the honourable member is quite correct. I am not talking about a consumer carbon tax. That's the province of that particular party, Mr. Speaker. I'll let them deal with that. But from my perspective, I'm speaking about industrial carbon levies. The carbon levy that we assess in Alberta has become the model for the LNG policy that's being followed by the Government of British Columbia and also the Government of Saskatchewan. So in terms of large industrial emitters, Alberta has been leading the way for many years. The policies that we've been putting in place, Mr. Speaker, are being adhered to and followed across North America.